Okay, so one thing I really want to touch upon is how Spurs built up in the first half against Leeds. So as you can see right here at the top, in the first half, Spurs build-up was a lot more narrow. And then we had, it looks like, Kudus and Odegaard tucking inside a little bit more. And then you had the fullbacks giving you that width. Now, the only problem with this is that it forces a very narrow build-up. And then with a very narrow build-up, there's a lot less passing options if the opposing team decides to clog up the middle of the pitch, which is exactly what Leeds did. I actually talk about this on my YouTube video. It's out right now, so go check it out. And I pretty much just go over the entire Leeds game and talk about the build-up versus the first half and then the build-up in the second half. But in the second half, Thomas Frank switched to a 4-3-3. And then the 4-3-3 allowed Spurs to have more width and opened up the game, which is why Kudus was able to end up in this position to score his first goal for Spurs. If you rewatch the start of that second half, it was a lot more open and there was a lot more room to create. Thomas Frank pushed up João Palhinha and Bentancur, not at the same time but simultaneously. But it was mainly Bentancur and then Palhinha sitting back in that alone six. With Bentancur pushing up, it allowed for more freedom and room in the midfield. And it also just gave Leeds like an extra man to think about. But Xavi had a lot more room to pull the string, pick out runners and passes. And then the build-up wasn't as narrow anymore in the second half because we were allowing Bentancur to roam more forward. And then as well, in the half spaces, like around this area, the half spaces, it gave more room for the midfielders to patrol. So this is something that Thomas Frank needs to look at going forward. I'm not a fan of the Bentancur-Palhinha double pivots, but if you were to do it, I think putting Xavi in that 10 allows you to get away with it. But you cannot have the narrow build-up. You got to be able to have the width and have the middle channels so players can make those runs in between. That's why I was calling for a player like Archie Gray, because Archie Gray has been crucial and so important at making those runs in between the channel. And I think he's linked up really well with Mohamed Kudus as well. But yeah, if you want the full breakdown of this, go check out this video on my YouTube channel. Like I said, I pretty much just go over the entire Leeds game and what happened in that, and then the tactical shift that we saw from the first half and the second half. And then I also just glaze clues a little bit, low-key. And of course, like and follow for more.